Welcome to another episode of Inspired Voices. My name is Oliver Riera, and this is Aaron Norris, the famous Aaron Norris.
Yo, that's funny. That's funny. What's going on? What's going on?
I appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I've been seeing the podcast stuff, so it's dope, man.
I appreciate it.
So yeah, I appreciate having the opportunity to be on here, man.
Absolutely, man. Aaron is a barber in the area, but he's more than just a barber. He's kind of a photographer, videographer, marketing, branding, mogul, global, right? You do a lot of different things, but all your tools that are in your tool belt, you tend to utilize with one another.
Yep, absolutely.
Through the barbering industry, I guess you could say, right?
Yep.
So why don't we start from the top, bro? Where are you from?
Originally from Pinehurst, specifically like Carthage, North Carolina area.
Yeah. How was it growing up there, man?
Because
that's a small town, right?
Yeah, small town, real, like country woods, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like there used to be a sundown town.
Yeah. Hey, look, I don't know. I don't know. But, we was all, it was always a good time being out there. Yeah. But definitely Pinehurst was more of the, Pinehurst was more of like the military and like old retired, Caucasian folks, kind of area. So, gotcha. Any type of, kids walking down the street in groups or, sledding on the golf courses and, throwing snowballs and stuff like that. You always got the cops called or, somebody was always, hey, don't do that, you know what I'm saying? So
staring at you from a distance.
Yeah, man. So, it's a strict area.
Yeah.
But Carthage is a little bit more loose, a little bit more, your own land, your own yard and stuff like that. So
you guys would like kind of hang out in Carthage?
Yeah, so Carthage is where Pinehurst is where I was born. Carthage is where we lived, and then we just kind of bounced back and forth, like living in different areas of the two.
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like, I feel like you have a lot of energy, and I feel like growing up, you played sports, obviously, right?
Yeah, baseball was the first sport.
Yeah.
Then when I got to high school, the ball was getting pitched too fast. I couldn't hit it, so I quit that.
Dude, I played baseball too. I was horrible at it.
Yeah.
But the thing was, my dad took me to tryouts, and I had no idea what baseball was. And he just took me to the tryouts, and I didn't know what it was. And so I was on the pitching mound.
Yeah.
And I saw people throw the ball. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna throw the ball. So I threw it as high and as far as I could instead of throwing it to the
plate.
Right. Yeah. So and they were just like, what the fuck? So I ended up making the team, but outfield.
Oh, okay, so, because you had that arm.
Yeah.
You had
we lost every single game.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I didn't anything. Yeah. I remember one time my dad was like, no, the coach was like, you're doing good, Oliver. And I turned around, I was like, no, I'm not. Right, in front of everybody. But we still celebrated.
Yeah.
I know you're deep into soccer too. When did that happen?
Yeah, so, man, I actually had no idea what soccer was until high school.
Okay.
And the only reason why I tried it out was because, a lot of the guys, I went to one of those small schools, small church schools.
Yeah.
Grace Christian, it was in Sanford.
Okay.
But it was a school where all the guys played all the sports. Does that make sense? So even though all the guys played all the sports, you'd have different groups of the guys that were the stars or the key guys for that sport. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we just all kind of helped, everybody have that team, you know what I'm saying? But I actually started playing soccer my 10th grade of high school though. It was really one of the only ways I was able to hang out with, all the boys and stuff like that. And
is that the only reason you liked
That's the only reason why I started, because all the guys were like, yo, you gotta try out, man, because one of the PE coaches, kind of saw how fast I was and stuff in PE and stuff like that. So then I think he put some of the guys up to it to being like, hey, you should come out and play soccer with us, man. But yeah, I mean, I had no idea what it was. Went out, tried out, and like, you know, it just kind of came to me a little bit. It kind of came to me naturally. So the passing the ball, running, you know, but the abstract of it was like, I still didn't get that part until college. But
so you played soccer in college too?
Yeah, I played soccer in college as well.
And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I feel like soccer is a big part of your life.
Yeah.
And a big part of your barbering life as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. And so is like the, you know, photography and cameras and stuff. So, but I you know, I'll kind of circle back around on that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I ended up naturally being pretty good. You know, scored a lot of goals. I was fast. Ran onto a lot of through balls, which was the only aspect I knew of the game. And I was in the papers all the time. You know, Norris scores this, Norris does that.
Was that in high school or college?
That was in high school.
Okay.
That was in high school.
Okay. Yeah. That's a big deal, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So what made you want to? Where did photography and videography come into play?
Okay, so also growing up, our families would, you know, kind of bounce back and forth. So like we'd all pile in at our house, you know, here in Carthage, or we'd all drive down to Georgia, and then we'd pile in at my aunt's house. And so it would always be like me and 2 or 3 of my cousins that, you know, we'd be bored as hell, man, and just like, you know, nothing to do. But I always had a camera and a laptop to like edit and stuff.
Yeah.
And so what we would do is, you know, we'd make these like secret agent movies, fighting movies, you know, cowboy movies. And, you know, we'd put the blooper scenes at the end and everything. And, but yeah, we'd make these movies, I'd edit them. And then by the end of the holidays, we'd have everybody kind of like sitting down and like watching it.
Yeah.
And man, just like seeing everybody in there just laughing and just, you know what I'm saying? And seeing us acting, man, it was funny, man. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Yeah. Me and my sister did the same thing.
Yeah.
We didn't do it like you guys did, but like, you know, we obviously had the camera. We made our own like news reports and like music videos and stuff like that. Yeah. We never like, you know, kind of got together as a family and watched it, but like it's something that we had and shit like that.
I got you.
Kind of like an outlet for us. And then from there, you just kind of like, you kept doing it?
Well, okay. So from there, high school and stuff, I kind of just, that was all I did.
Okay.
You know?
So you did that as a kid?
Yeah, I did that as a kid.
And then kind of grew out of it?
Yeah, just kind of grew out of it.
Yeah.
You know, sports and stuff kind of took over. So that's where soccer was introduced and stuff like that.
Right.
And
what came first when, like, in your later years, like high school, college, soccer or photography, videography?
All right. So I want to say that they both kind of came along at the same time because I went to University of Mount Olive. I went to Mount Olive for graphic design, and then I minored in marketing. Okay. But also, while I was in school, I played soccer as well. So I was on the team. And so, you know, at the same time that I was, you know, playing and, you know, cutting hair for like teammates and guys in the dorms and like even other teams, I was also going through school for, you know, graphic design and marketing.
Gotcha. So you're doing like 3 things.
Yeah. So I was kind of doing it all at the same time, but it was one of those things where like the graphic design courses, what kind of went under that was like your painting, your drawing, your photography. So that's where I first picked up a camera at. Yeah. Well, you know, like I guess you can say like professionally, you know, like trying to like learn cameras and stuff. Because at the time at home, I was just messing around, right? Not much, Right. And so let's see, and then it jumped over into like digital media, so like design, Illustrator, Photoshop, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, it was and sculpture as well, but you know, it all, and typography as well. But yeah, so everything just kind of kept like building, you know, onto it without me even really realizing that I was going to be using that in the future.
So where did, so we're kind of like bouncing a little bit. But it's because you have different things going on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like, let's go back a little bit. Where did barbering come into play for you?
Okay, so
Like, how did that happen?
Okay, so let's rewind back again. So at the time where, you know, cousins and stuff are coming over, we're doing, you know, cameras and like videos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, that's where I had that name, Lil Bill, right?
Oh.
You remember?
Yeah.
I always got the shaved head when I went to school, you know, middle school and stuff like that. And it was one of those things where I was just like, yo, Ma, like I gotta get a hairstyle, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody gotta, you know, we gotta do something. So my dad got me some, my dad had clippers.
Were you getting bullied at school?
Well, I mean, it wasn't like bullied.
Because of
like,
your hair?
Yeah, well,
your
yeah.
lack of hair?
Know, yeah, lack of hair, right? You know, you had the guys, you know, walking up, what up, Aaron? Pop, you know, smack you in the back of the head. And you know, the girls, you know, they'll rub on your head. Oh, it's so prickly. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, man. But I told him, I was like, I'm getting ready to go into high school soon. I gotta have a hairstyle. Like I gotta have some hair on my head.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, my dad had clippers and stuff. He had a pair of like Andis Skylines and like some other clippers and stuff like that. So he taught me the double mirror trick, and my mom took me to the barber shop a couple of times and basically was like, all right, you know, we're going to the barber shop a couple of times. You're gonna have to see and learn and do what they do. Yeah. And then practice on yourself. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to pay for it every time?
Exactly. Gotcha. It was getting a little bit expensive, you know what I'm saying? So
was that tough for you?
At first it was, you know? So I started off with, you know, just doing like even all over, you know, even all over and then just edging it up. And then once I got tired of doing that, then I started doing like just a little bit of tapers like right here on the sides. Yeah. Then after that, I started doing tapers on the sides and the back. And then after that, I was like, let me try to see if I can do a fade, you know? And so, yeah, I just... How'd
you practice that? Did you like look it up on YouTube or something?
Nah, man, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even really know much about YouTube at the time. Right. So I was in there.
How old are you?
32.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, 32, yeah. Let's see, yeah, I didn't even know what YouTube was at the time as much, so...
So how'd you learn how to fade?
I saw what they did.
Trial and error?
Yeah, trial and error.
Wow.
I messed my up so many times, man. Yeah.
So what, if you messed up, did you have to go to school like that?
Shave it off.
Shave it off?
If I messed up too bad, shave it off. I was already used to it, right? Right. And then, but if I messed up a little bit, I'll try to like, you know, at least even it out on each side or do the same thing I did on one side, you know. But yeah, man. Yeah.
Gotcha. So barbering really came, it's almost like a survival for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Socially.
Yeah, socially. Yeah, absolutely.
And so how did that transition happen as far as cutting yourself and then cutting other people? So
I got pretty good. And then when I went to college, you know, all soccer players, they gotta be fresh. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's just a fact of life. That's how you stand out on the field. You know, besides your cleats and stuff like that.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's true. Every time I see him, you're fresh.
Exactly. Exactly. That's how you stand out. So so soccer players, they gotta be fresh. And you know, for me, once my teammates, you know, one night they saw me go into the bathroom with my bag, you know, bag of clippers, cut my hair, boom, boom, boom. I finish, I come out, and I got a fresh cut. Everybody's like, "Yo, you just cut your own hair?" I was like, "Yeah." They was like, "Yo, you gotta get me, bro. You gotta fade me." And so now I'm gonna tell you straight up, man. Like straight hair is not my kind of hair. I really didn't even know if I could do it. Right. So I was like, look, bro, don't get mad at me if I mess you up. You know what I'm saying? Like this is just a favor. You know what I'm saying? Like I only know how to cut my own hair. Right. And so,
were you nervous when you did that?
Oh yeah. I was nervous a little bit because I didn't want to mess them up, you know. And then you got all your teammates in the hallway, like, oh, you gonna fuck him up? You know. But like,
did he have like a complicated kind of haircut?
Nah, it was easy. It was easy. Gotcha. You know, just knock it down on the sides, do like a little fade or a little taper and stuff like that. You know, edge them up.
Yeah, even with like straight hair, because you got to use like the not the brush, but the comb.
Yeah, you gotta use
something like with the
comb. Yeah, comb. Yeah, I mean, you can use a comb, brush, whatnot, but yeah.
That's what you did?
Yeah, it was a basic cut. I mean, it was a basic like comb over, you know, with the line, but like a little, you know, a little fade, knock it down on the sides and stuff like that. I was doing super basic stuff.
Gotcha.
But once I was doing it though, like, it wasn't hard. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, for me, I learned the hardest way possible how to cut hair, and that was on myself.
Oh, right.
Double mirror, I got the clippers, you gotta do everything backwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you gotta do everything backwards. Cutting somebody else, way easier. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because now I know how, you know, what to do, and it's right here in front of me. I don't have to like look and do all these like double mirror moves.
Right.
And so yeah, I mean that's essentially what happened, man. It was just way easier, and I started off doing like simple things for everybody, and then it just got a little bit more difficult every time.
Is it one of those things where like, let me see if I could do this, and then you try it on somebody or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Or, you know, people will come up and be like, yo, Norris, you know, can you, or yo, Aaron, can you do this? Yo, can you do this? And, you know, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I can, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's do it. Cause I had a bit of a confidence, you know, about me, you know, after knocking out all the easy stuff and doing all the easy stuff.
Yeah.
So like I said, it just kind of like segued into the harder things, to where like, I had that vote of confidence to like knock out like some stuff. So if people wanted lines and like designs, I was in there, you know, like, all right, I think I can do that. And then, you know, now sometimes I mess up, you know, but if I did, you know, nobody was mad, because it's like, hey, look, man, you know, I'm doing this for free. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
I'm not a barber.
Yeah, I'm not a barber. I'm just hooking everybody up.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, once I got good, that's when I started charging, and that's when the mess ups were.
How far in did you start charging? Like still in college kind of thing?
Yeah, I was still in college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was still in college. I probably was charging maybe like at first it was like $5. Then it went to 10, and that was just to like try to like dial back everybody. Like I went up to 10, 15 just so I can get everybody to stop coming to me. But then me charging that much, it kind of legitimized me a little bit. So even more people was coming like, oh, yo, you charge? Like, bro, like.
But so, like during that time, did you actually like it? Like doing it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm outside of parties and like training and games and stuff. It was the only way, and you know, calf and stuff. It was the only way like it brought all the guys together, like in the dorms, to like hang out and you know, talk a little bit of trash and stuff like that. So
gotcha.
Yep. So just that atmosphere, man, of like, you know, everybody in there just talking shit, man. It was good, just like barbershops.
Right.
So
yeah, it's like a dorm barbershop.
Exactly.
That's awesome, man. So while you were in college, you were cutting hair, you were playing soccer. Where did you do any kind of photography, videography? I know you were doing it for like a degree, but outside of that?
So outside of that, not really.
Okay.
So this period in college was more when I was getting a lot more like professional practice with the camera.
Okay.
Learning ISO, shutter speed, you know, what was that, like f-stops and stuff like that. Yeah. So just like learning all those things, and you know, positioning subjects and overexposing and underexposing, you know, things of that sort. Like,
gotcha.
That was me. College was me learning all
like the foundation.
The foundations and the do's and do nots. You know what I'm saying, with the cameras and stuff.
Okay.
And so so that was more of like a practice stage as well.
Yeah. And then as far as so that was kind of like the period in college, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Like, did anything else happen in college, or was like you graduated, or like what was the next step in your life?
Yeah, so graduated. So I actually didn't know. All right, so let me tell you this one important thing that you know had happened in one of the dorms, and it was so like minuscule, man. Like I didn't even really you don't really know. Whenever you say something, you don't really know how much it can like affect somebody. You know what I'm saying? And my guy didn't mean anything by it, but like it was one of those things where like I was cutting hair in the hallways, and one of the guys was like, "Yo, Aaron, man, like, you know, like, dude, you're like pretty good at this, man. Like, you're real good at this, bro. Like, why are you even here? You should be in barber school somewhere."
Right.
And I was like, man, you know what? Yeah, And then one of my guys kind of stepped in. He's one of the captains of our team, and one of the guys that kind of like looked up to a little bit. And so he just kind of stepped in, was just like, nah, Norris, you don't want to do that, man. You don't want to do that. He was like, barbers don't make money. They can't support a family. You don't make a whole lot of money as a barber. You don't want to do that. Stay here in school, bro. Just stay in school. So I was like, well, at the time I didn't know much. I didn't research it at all. So I was just like, yeah, hey, look.
And he was like the captain of the team.
And he was the captain of the team, and he said it like he already knew what was going on with it. So I was just like, well, shit, there goes that idea,
I've had some people do that to me as well.
Yeah.
And
any thought?
It changed the course of my life. And it's like, interesting.
Yep. So I guess subconsciously I always had that like mental block that like I can't turn this into a career. Yeah. So let me, let me just keep it as a hobby, and I'll figure out a day job. Right. And but like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do after I graduated. Ended up moving to Charleston, South Carolina with my brother for like 4 or 5 months. You didn't
kind of want to pursue the graphics degree?
I did. I did try to pursue it. Couldn't find a job in graphic design.
Yeah. That's tough because you gotta have like a portfolio and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Now our senior year was it was based off of like building a portfolio, but like after doing it, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this, but I still applied and tried to find jobs and stuff for it. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I mean, like I said, I couldn't find a job. Moved out there, and I was just like, nah, like it's not working. I couldn't find a job. I was mooching off my brother and his roommates at one point. And I like to be independent, man. I like to stand on my own 2 feet. Yeah. And
which is kind of what barbers do, right?
Yeah. And so being out there, it wasn't good for me. So I moved back. A bunch of my teammates was like, bro, we don't even know why you went out there. We got a job set up for you. Come on, come out here. So that's when I lived with one of my teammates and his parents for 2 summers. So a summer while he was in school, and then a summer while he was out of school. Gotcha. So they helped me get up on my feet and everything.
Doing
amongst a lot of people. I was pressure washing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Coaching soccer. I had gotten a job at this place called Soccer Genome. So Taylor Pilkington, I ended up, living at his place. I was couch surfing until I got my apartment as well. So like there's several different things where people helped me. They saw the drive and they saw what I was doing, and they helped me get to a point where like I was on my own. So
when you were living at that time, bouncing around and stuff like that, that's
I was working and cutting hair on the side at the same time.
Right, right. Yeah. For some people, like I've been homeless and stuff like that, so like bouncing around is like at a time in my life where like things are down and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, did you perceive it that way as well? Or because you had that support, you didn't really think about that?
Because I had the support, I was good, but I always had a plan though. You know what I'm saying? And as long as I stuck to the plan, like, all right, if I work this much and save this amount this week, then I'll be closer to hitting this goal to like getting my first apartment. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I just stuck to the plan, man. Like I had to. If I wanted to get, I trusted it. If I wanted to get out of these people's hair, so to speak, then like I needed to like stick to the plan, execute it, so I can get out here on my own. That's what I needed to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so that's what I did. Stuck to the plan. I had to work jobs and stuff that I didn't want to work, shifts I didn't want to work, but like I said, I had to do it in order to get to where.
What drove you?
I am.
Just not wanting to be in their hair, in their way.
Yeah, man. Just like I like standing on my own 2 feet. I don't like to be a burden on anybody to like, all right, we got Aaron's depending on us or I would like that to be the other way around. You know what I'm saying? Like
that'd be nice sometimes.
Yeah, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like that, man. I just don't like that. And so
I get you.
Yeah, and so that's what kind of drove me, and the fact that like, I'm doing well, I'm healthy, there's a good community, soccer community, friend group, friends from college that was still there, you know what I'm saying, that was there in the area, and we all hung out like every day, every weekend. So I mean, like that's what kept me like pushing and going through. You know what I'm saying?
Kept you sane too.
Yeah, it kept
right?
me sane. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good, man.
Exactly.
That's really good. Not a lot of people have that support, but that's great that you had that.
Yeah, man.
That helps.
Oh yeah.
I don't think people realize how much that helps.
Yeah, it helps, man, and socially as well, right? Because socially, like for barbers have to be social.
Yeah.
So like me being as social as I was, and you know, reaching out to these different like pockets of like friends and stuff like that. The moment I became a barber, that was when I, you know, it kind of pulled and tied everybody in. So now everybody started coming and getting in the chair and, you know, getting haircuts and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
dude. Damn.
Yeah.
Everything's connected.
Everything is connected. Everything's connected to the chair.
Yeah.
So what I like to say is the barbershop is like the hub for everything. You know, you could come in there and be like, oh yeah, man, like I got a leak. I got a leak at the house, or, you know, the alternator in my car is out, or, you know, something crazy, right? Like you walk in there and you're telling your barber the story, and then all of a sudden, you know, you got 5 or 6 people, and it's like, oh yeah, man, like, hey, I know how to fix cars, or I know my guy that I have a connect that he can hook you up. Yeah, like I said, the barbershop is the hub for literally almost anything, because
you guys are
everybody
therapists.
needs a haircut. So.
You guys are therapists too.
Yeah, therapists too. Yeah.
You ever think about like taking like therapy lessons or something like that so you could?
Nah,
talk
not
to your
really.
clients?
But you know what? I went through enough life, and I know you know that. I went through enough life now to be able to, you know, pass on a little bit of wisdom on, you know, what I went through, to be able to relate to somebody that might be going through certain things. You know what I'm saying? And so that just makes the barber client connection, you know, even stronger, man. Whenever I can relate, you know, if I was, you know, born with a silver spoon in my mouth, you know, never had to work hard or change a spark plug or be broke down on the side of the road and call somebody for help to come help fix my car, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I've never couch surfed or done any of these things, or had to stick to a really hard plan before actually making it, then I wouldn't be able to tell like some of these young guys out here that are like, oh yeah, man, I don't know what to do about this job, that job. And it's like, well, you know what you need to do? You know, you're gonna have to sack up for a little bit, but you're gonna have to do the job you don't wanna do because that's paying the most money. And then on the side, you work on the hobby when you are tired. If you're that passionate enough, you will work on that hobby to get it to grow whenever you are tired. You know
I
what
think
I'm
if
saying?
you were like, I had a silver spoon in your mouth, you'd probably be like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it.
Exactly. Yeah, because I would have never had to deal with it, you know?
Right.
So I can't give them the blueprint on how to get out of it.
Right.
And so, yeah.
So, all right, man. So you went into barber school. Right?
So, yeah. So,
what was like the final decision? I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
So the light bulb, the moment that came on was when I was pressure washing. And, you know, we're sitting out here like blasting the concrete and stuff like that, man. I hit a dirt patch and just dirt hit me in the eyes. Smelling like bleach every day. Just being just tired, man. I was getting all these like spots on my skin from like the sun and just the bleach just kind of hitting us constantly and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, man, one day I was just like, yo, like I gotta figure something out.
Right.
And I was like, what is the one thing that I've always done that I never mind doing? And it was barbering, man. Like everything, no matter what I was doing or where I was at some point, I was always cutting at least 2 or 3 people on the side a day. You know what I'm saying? Just hanging out, talking, cutting somebody's hair. And that was, and you know, when I did that, one of my guys, like I said, through soccer, he was like, dude, I know a guy that is a barber. Maybe you can talk to him and maybe you can like figure something out. Yeah. So I was like, all right, let me link us up, man. So I went to a soccer session that night.
So you pretty much had to reset your foundation. That's when you had the light bulb moment.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's similar to what I had to go through as well.
Yeah. I was tired of like getting up at 5, 6 a.m., having to go out there and bust my ass and just, you know, all the effects happening from like the bleach and working and being out there in the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny those moments happen. I can recall 2 moments in my life. I'm sure there's more. I know there's more.
Yeah, that's just the one that I can remember. So
Right,
yeah,
right,
I know.
right.
Yeah, I know. What you mean. I know
It's
what
like
you mean.
one was like I was a manager at Blockbuster, and I got sick of dealing with clients. And one day I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And the only thing I knew how to, or my only option that I knew was to go to college, and I wasn't planning on going to college, so went to college. And the other moment was like 2 years ago when I had my photography videography business, and I was doing that, and then I realized I asked myself, what do I want to do? What's the goal with photo and video work? And I was like, I don't want to do commercials for the rest of my life. I don't want to do like social media content for the rest of my life. I feel like my talents are more. There's more than that.
Yeah.
You know. So like.
Your talents are made for movies, man. I'm trying to tell you.
You think
okay,
so?
go ahead. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, bro. Like, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
A couple of people have told me that. But like, yeah. So like, I had stopped everything, and then I had to reset my foundation. I was like, what makes me happy? And then that's when I picked this back up again.
Oh wow. Yeah. So the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. I didn't know that then.
Yeah. So that was kind of like the recent light bulb moment, I guess you could say, 2 years ago. But that's cool, man. So as you talked to Milton, and then you guys kind of talked about it. And then you went?
Yeah. Milton was talking to me about barber school, and I was like, yeah, man.
Side note: Milton actually works with Aaron at the barbershop as well.
Yeah. So yeah, Milton was telling me, he was just like, yeah, man, well, I was telling him, I was like, yeah, man, I'm thinking about going to barber school. I'm thinking about going to like, Sherrills or, one of these schools that was like $14,000, $15,000. And he was like, bro. And he was like, no. He was like, don't do that, bro. Don't do that. He was like,
you sound like me, bro.
Yeah. He was like, don't do that, man. He was like, you're going to pay all that money. You have to pay all that money back. He was like, dude, just go to Wake Tech, check it out. It's only like 2,000, two something. And I was like, where? He was like, yeah, man. He was like, it's not about how much you pay. It's about what you do and what you learn in there. And it's about the drive. No, he was like, it's about the drive that you have when you go in there, the willingness to like learn and pick everything up. He was like, that's what it's about. So you just got to go in there and make sure you learn everything you can and knock it out.
Yeah.
That way you can have a quick turnaround. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. I went to an informations class, and this is funny right here too. Okay, my hometown barber, his name is Fox. Okay, I went to an information class, and the instructor there was Mr. William Graham. So ended up meeting him, and then we was talking and chatting before the information class, and yeah, man, he was like, yeah, man, where you from? Blah, blah, blah. Carthage, yeah. And he goes out there, he was like, yeah, man, you know what? I know somebody. I think I know somebody that's out that way, man. He was like, big guy, kind of light skinned, got the way. I was like, oh, is his name Fox? He was like, yeah, man, I went to barber school with him, Fox. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's my barber from Carthage, man, from back home. He's like, what? Fox? He was like, yeah. So we kind of clicked off of that, and then fast forward, we went through the information session. And let me just tell you that right off the gate, Mr. Graham basically had demolished that idea that as a barber you can't support a family or you can't, you know what I'm saying? That wall that I had up.
Did you bring it up to him?
Or
did he just say it in class or something like that?
No, he just said it in class.
Okay,
he was like,
gotcha.
you can make as much money as you want to make. It depends on how much work you want to put in. Marketing yourself, blah, blah, blah. That's when he went into his whole spiel. You'll never, hold on, because I said it earlier.
Yeah.
He was like, you'll never,
some 5 miles radius.
Yeah, you'll never get outside of that 5 mile radius if you don't market yourself. And so when he said that registered in my mind. I was like, okay, so when I get in here, I got to market myself. So that was number one. Number two, then he was like, you can make as much money as you want to make. The only reason why, sometimes, they say barbers don't have a big salaries because sometimes they don't be reporting, stuff. They don't be reporting a whole lot.
Yeah.
So, and that's why it looks like our thing is like super low.
Gotcha.
But he was like, if you do this industry right and you put in the work, you put in the time, you can support a family. You can do this. You can make 6 figures.
Yeah.
So when he said that, that's when I was like, I'm doing this then.
Yeah.
I already knew. As soon as he said that, I was like, I'm doing this.
Yeah. That was a light bulb moment for you.
That was a light bulb. That was another light bulb.
Did you feel like everything kind of clicked together?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Everything you went through?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, and it was from then on where I was like, I literally have all the tools right here. I know how to market myself. I know how to use the camera.
Yeah.
I know how to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I know the programs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm cutting hair. I was a TA of the class, so it's like,
damn.
Yeah, I literally had all the tools, man.
I felt like that gave you like the most energy or something like that.
Oh, you have no idea. Because when I started barber school, the only thing I was concerned about was the textbook side of everything, because I actually didn't know we had to do all that. But yeah, you know, I did good. I did good with all that stuff though. Just putting that out. I did good with all that stuff. But the marketing side of it, man, I hit the ground running. Mm-hmm. Oh man, so like. When we were in class, I probably already had we did 2 hours of class time. Mm-hmm. And then after class time, we'd go to the floor. Okay. The floor is where we go to the barbershop area of the classroom, and we cut hair, we practice services, we do different things like that. Yeah. Me, I always had a line of like 4 or 5 people outside the door waiting to get haircuts with me, so I was always cutting hair. Yeah. And so that's where I got the nickname Hollywood, because at my barber station, lights, camera set up. Mm-hmm. I had somebody with a phone, taking like videos and stuff for me. So
how did you market? Did you already have people, or
wait, what do you mean? Like,
because you said you had a line and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So that line. So when I went to barber school, everybody that I had met before, college, gym, soccer.
Oh, you just spread the word.
Yeah, that's all I had to do.
Gotcha.
That's all I had to do. I was like, hey, I'm in barber school now. Like, hey, yeah, come see me, man. I'll give you a haircut right over there.
Gotcha.
Boom, that was it. So also they promoted to the students at the campus, like you go in, you get a free cut. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah. So you had that too, but yeah, like I said, man, like I had all the tools, lights, camera, action. Like making my clients, feel like Hollywood and stuff like that.
Anybody get jealous? Like, look at this guy thinking he's Hollywood.
You know what?
Turn the lights off, man.
You know what? Probably, but like, it wasn't put in the form of like, it was just put in the form of like, hate. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, Aaron, what he always doing, man. He always, you know what I'm saying? Just making jokes, and stuff. Yeah. But for me, I knew it was working. And I knew it was working, and that's why I continued to do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Despite what everybody was saying. And then when I got my first sponsorship, which was about 6 months in, by Cremo.
Still in Wake Tech?
Still in Wake Tech. Still in school.
Oh wow.
That's when everybody was like,
how'd you get that?
Just putting out videos.
Oh,
one of my guys that I lived with his parents and him, he brought in a product that he had found, and he was like, yeah, bro, I've been using this, in my hair. I was like, all right, cool, yeah, I'll give you a cut and I'll just put it in there. We'll just make some videos. Mm-hmm. Just did that, not even thinking anything of it, man. Put out a video, kept putting videos out. I mean, I was putting videos out every day. I mean, I had a routine, man. Mm-hmm. And one day,
they couldn't ignore it, man.
Yeah, one day, Cremo just sent me a message and was like, hey, have you ever thought about being an ambassador, like for hair products? Like, we like to send you some stuff, see if you like the product line, and then we just go from there. Yeah. So I was like, hell yeah, just the consistency and the videos and stuff, and everything was done right. So yeah, man. I mean,
that's dope, man.
Once that happened, then everybody, boom, they started pulling out their phones and cameras.
Oh, really?
Stuff.
So they helped you out.
So I started a whole thing, or I like to think so. You know what I'm saying? Right. But yeah, I started a whole thing in barber school, which is like, everybody, making videos and doing videos and doing content and stuff like that. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
So at that point, you got your first sponsor while you were in college at barber school.
Yep.
You got your barber license. And then you went into your first kind of place, right?
Yeah, went into the first barbershop.
Yeah.
So
Did you already know that barbershop?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So I will say this. So in the barber school, one of Mr. Graham's guys needed some help at his barbershop. He had a couple barbers leave. So I went out to go cut at his barbershop. So I was transitioning out. So I was going back and forth to school, but going to this guy's shop to help cut.
Gotcha.
And so I was doing that for a little bit. But then my first shop that I legitly went to after I graduated was the shop that Milton had worked at.
Gotcha.
Which was in the cut.
Is that so? He helped you get into it.
Gotcha. So he told the owner. He was like, "Yo, you gotta save a spot for my boy Aaron. Like he's killing it. Da da da. Look at his videos." And the guy was like, "All right, yeah, I'll do that." So saved me a spot, and then when I graduated, boom, in the cut.
Nice, dude. Yeah, and then I feel like that was from what I've known about that part of your life. It was like the trenches. Was it the trenches for you?
Yeah. You know, it was a dope spot, you know, hole in the wall spot. I mean, but man, the vibes were great, right? Like we created a dope vibe in there. And then let's see, everything was great there. I was creating content.
Right.
But then the opportunity came across the table where I was gonna be working with Mr. Pompadour. So I did a showcase. A guy came in with some flyers, put it out, and
who is that? Is that somebody?
Just a random guy came out
gotcha.
from like the Major League Barbering in this area.
Got it.
And he was like, yeah, you know, we got this competition, showcasing, all this stuff happening. We got this event coming up. So I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do that or not. And then I was like, bro, just do it, man. Like, you already do this, you already do that. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Went there, showcased, and then pretty much that was where I met the videographer and the owner of Mr. Pompadour. They talked to me, was like, hey man, we love your content, we love what you just did. Like, you know, how would you like to work at a barbershop that we got coming up here in the next, you know, 9 months? And I was like, all right, I mean, you know, let's see if this is real or not, you know, let's do it. So yeah, fast forward, they ended up getting a place going, went there, transitioned over there after COVID, and that was when a lot of my content got the views and the eyes that it deserved and the shares and everything that it deserved. And from there, I just blew up, man. Ended up getting connected with the lady, Megan, that connected me over to the UK. So that's where that all happened.
Right. That's a big move right there. Man.
Yeah.
But you were excited.
Oh, dude, oh man, you have no idea, because my whole thing was putting out like this UK vibe, and that, like I said, it dates back to college, cutting all the guys that were from the UK.
Oh, I didn't know they were from the UK.
Yeah, there were a few teammates that were from the UK.
Gotcha.
Didn't let me cut their hair with clippers on top. I had to use the scissors. I had to use the shears, and so me getting good at cutting their hair in college, that transitioned over to me cutting hair in barber school, knowing how to texture and do different things with straight hair.
Yeah.
And styling the hair as well.
Right.
And so a lot of that played a role in everything that I did. You know, setting up that like UK vibe, you know, the beanies, you know what I'm saying? Like the swag, like the swag that you see.
Yeah.
And so I really promoted that because I knew that, you know, that was something that wasn't here in Raleigh. You know what I'm saying? And the skill sets that I had, you know, clipper work, shear work, and then blending the two. Yeah. It's not out here in Raleigh. I mean, it is, but it's like little gems of people that's like hidden out here.
Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to connect. I'm trying to bring all those people together and connect. That way, you know, we can start training other barbers to learn to do the same thing.
Right.
But awesome. Anyway, so that's what happened with that.
Yeah, you went out there in the UK.
Yep. Went out there, taught a class, you know, after speaking with the owner of the brand.
Did you feel like you made it?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That was when I really like blew up. That was when I really blew up. Everything went to the next level after that.
Yeah.
Going out there, being flown out there, teaching, cutting hair, just like traveling, man, really. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what did you, what was there a goal in mind when you blew up like that? or was there like I want to like only cut like famous soccer players or football players, soccer players, however you want to say it?
I mean, yeah. So I mean, you know, for everybody, right? Like, yeah, that's the goal, right? But like, in order to do those types of things, you have to live in those places.
Yeah.
And you know, I got 2 boys, man, that I can't really leave behind like that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I'm not saying that like they're holding me back, but what I'm saying is that like if I get the opportunity, you know, I probably would jump on it just because it would build and excel the brand, you know, further along to where I could get that time on the back end with my boys, you know? And that's just part of one of the things about, you know, having kids and you know, really, you know, being a man and this being like your life, you know what I'm saying, and how you provide.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, man. So it gets tough, but you know, it's, yeah. Sure. But I would love to do that. That was the goal. But nah, man, the goal is to build a brand based off of what I've done and, you know, just keep it running that way. And then whoever we attract. Right. But yeah, unfortunately, you have to live in these bigger cities in order to get more of those opportunities and stuff.
You don't think you could kind of do what you did with the social media and the content and stuff like that to kind of attract that clientele?
Could. Yeah, I think I could. Yeah. I definitely could. I definitely could. I just I feel like the stage where we're at, once we start building more barbers and stuff and they're learning up under like the Shearperfection brand and stuff like that, then, you know, I'll be able to tackle that that level. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then bring people to tackle that level with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Kind of bring a team with you.
Yeah. Right now it's just building that team. So.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. And then you got a few sponsors after that, right?
Yeah. Several different sponsors. Sponsored by Electric, which was the product out in
the UK.
In the UK.
Yeah.
I was sponsored by, you know, Pompadour, obviously, you know, doing videos and stuff with products. Let's see, now sponsored by Forte. So that's a current one now. And then I want to say also sponsored by Andis. So Andis was a huge milestone reached as well, or accomplished as well, because like I said, growing up, my dad had a pair of Andis. Yeah. So I've always used Andis clippers. Yeah. And then, let's see, being at Pompadour.
That's almost like a full circle.
Yeah, it is. Everything everything is full circle. Yeah. Being at Pompadour, you know, I was getting a lot of looks from the Andis page, and they were, you know, reposting and liking a lot of stuff and commenting on all that stuff. So I was like, all right, you know. Dope. But yeah, I was always waiting for that opportunity to become an ambassador. And even when I started in barber school, Mr. Graham, he was always talking about like, you know, the sponsorships and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, I would love to be sponsored by, you know, Andis, man. But for me, it felt like that accomplishment was light years away. Right. Felt like it was light years away, man. And just I've been cutting hair professionally now for 4.5, almost 5 years. I think I accomplished that goal in like 4 years, being accomplished. Yeah. Being sponsored. Right. So, yeah.
That's wild, dude.
Crazy, man. Crazy. I've had a crazy
you kind of hit the ground running. Bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And let me just say this real quick. So like the photography, the videography, sure, you know, the traveling, the way I carried myself and did everything. That's what sold me to be flown out to Greece as well to do that wedding party. Right. Now, you know, I'm not the best barber in the world, but I'm a good barber, and I also know how to do photography. I also know how to do videography, and I know how to edit. And so, you know, I don't know about you, but like if I were to fly two barbers out and I had a choice, right? If I had one guy that could give me an amazing haircut and I had one guy that could give me a good haircut with photos, videos, and you know what I'm saying, he knows how to like you know,
edit,
vibe and
stuff,
edit. He knows how to vibe with people. He knows
yeah.
how to dress. He's traveled before. Like, dude, I'm picking this guy who knows how to do those things. You know what I'm saying? Those extra things. And so that's what gets you that golden ticket, man, to go out here to these different places, is by how versatile you can be.
Yeah.
You know, what skill sets you have and stuff like that. And so thank God, you know, because I know I didn't plan this. And like I said, thank God that like everything, like I said, just kind of was building and cultivating itself.
It came together.
And it all came together.
Dude, that's awesome, man. If you could have one piece of information to pass on to young barbers, what would that be?
Okay.
Who are trying to get to where you're at. Sponsors.
Got you.
All this shit.
Got
trying to build a team.
Consistency. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
There was a lot of late nights, you know, being up, cutting hair, being tired, you know, just, oh man, do I want to edit this video? It's freaking 11 o'clock, da da da. Like, consistency. You know what I'm saying? Just posting and putting out, man, just having some consistency. I'd say is for sure something that is like super, super important, man. You have to have consistency. And you gotta have a goal too. Like you can't just aimlessly just be putting out content and it's all over the place. Put out content that is specifically on this, stick to it, stay consistent, and just know it's not gonna happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I mean, that's pretty much all I can say.
Yeah. Those things right there, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
The hardest, but also the most rewarding.
Yeah, it's the hardest. It's the hardest, and usually, you know, when something's about to break through, that's when people end up quitting right before it ends up breaking through. Yeah. And you know, and all this instant gratification and stuff that people see today, and getting paid right then and there just for doing like little things, it's training us to think that like everything is like that, and it's not. You got to put the work in, man, and it's that's gonna be tough for a lot of people to swallow in these next couple generations coming up. So
yeah, absolutely.
Also too, for young barbers, don't get caught up in the social media hype. You know what I'm saying? Like I call it Instagram barbers. You know, the barbers that are doing the lights, camera action, right? Yeah. But then as soon as all that stuff shuts off, they're done. They don't want anything to do with barbering. You know what I'm saying? It's the staying up late nights, cutting John because he couldn't make it in from work. And he's getting ready to go on vacation, and you know, cutting 2-3 extra kids because, you know, they forgot the book, and they're, you know, and the mom is just running all over the place and stuff like that. So it's like helping the community out in ways that you can by giving out a haircut, staying late, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know, there's a little bit of give and go there, but sure. You know, your feet hurt, your back hurt, your eyes hurt, you're hungry. Yeah. You know, it's not easy standing up all day. And I think that that's what is not portrayed, you know, on social media through that barbering lens. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just thinks it's fun, travel, you know, stay up, taking shots, drinking, going out, you know what I'm saying? Buying this, buying that, you know, Jordans on your feet, cutting, I'm cool. Like, it can be that, but it's not really that, man, especially starting out. And so that's another thing that I would definitely say. Yeah. Don't be fooled by all that stuff, especially starting out. So. Right. There's more to it than that. It's way more to it. Way more to it.
Well, bro, I appreciate you stopping by, man. It really helps. Sir. You want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah. You guys can find me on Instagram and TikTok. Let's see. The Instagram handle will be _Shearperfection, ShearPerfection. All right. We're also on YouTube. We're coming out with, you know, different like haircuts and videos and stuff like that, where we're breaking them down and putting some hidden gems on like how I deal and how I do certain haircuts, and, you know, when you run into certain problem areas and stuff like that. So, yeah, just be on the lookout for that stuff. You know, our shop is out in Raleigh, North Carolina. Let's see,
You want to shout out
1005, 1005 Bullet Court. Shout out to Milton and Mr. Graham, Soccer Genome, Taylor Pilkington, Philip Seamster, Irish Seamster, Miss Denise. Shout out to my pops, moms. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody who's kind of helped.
That's the first impact, right?
Get me to Everybody who's kind of helped get me to, where I am today.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, man. All right, cool. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with somebody who you think will benefit from learning about barbershops, about content creation, about chasing your dreams. It's not just, it's more in depth than just about barbering, right? It's what do you want to do in life, what makes you happy, and how do you strive for that? So
yeah, absolutely.
Check it out below. If you have any questions, comment below. If you have any questions for Aaron, do you have different perspectives of what we talked about, comment below. We'll answer them.
We'll answer them. I got you.